So when it comes to strategy and breaking 80, shooting in the 70s consistently, there's things you could do at every level, which if you've watched the whole series, hopefully you've picked up these points as you go. But let's put them all into one video. Strategy. How can you have a positive strategy to make sure you're getting the most out of every part of your game? Make that carry. So even on this first hole, I'm making sure I've got enough club to make the carry over the bunker, even when I caught it slightly thin. And I'm using a swing and an aim point that moves me away from that water. Now, if you haven't got a swing, you would just use your aim left. If you get it in the left-hand, rough left-hand side of the green, that is way better than interacting with anything of that. Approach play on par threes, anywhere. I'm doing everything I can do to not hit the ball in trouble. And I know that almost sounds too obvious because I don't think anyone's trying to hit it in trouble on purpose, are they? But what I do see golfers doing is absolutely not aiming away from trouble enough. I use the same strategies off the tee. I'm going to look where the trouble is, use whatever I can. I'm going to use my Arcos app, I'm going to use your GPS, whatever you've got, see where the trouble is, see where the bailouts are. I don't mind if I hit it 50 yards left in the rough if I can have a swing at the next one. I don't need to be hitting down the middle of every fairway, something that so many golfers try to do. What I do need to do is have less penalty shots, as we've shown in this series, and have less recovery area shots, certainly off the tee. What I'm also going to do is try and make sure I hit the ball as far down the hole as possible. Having less club in has a huge difference on your score. But remember, that's in play as far down there as possible. So whatever club you keep in play the most, send it down there on the fairway. Second shots into long par fours or par fives like this. Again, same strategy, as far up there as possible, but in play. So if that means hitting a hybrid, a 5-iron, a 3-wood like I hit there, whatever it is, just make sure it's the most club you can hit. Do not lay back to a number. Laying back to an exact number, let's say you want 100 yards rather than 40 yards, it's going to be so tough. Think about hitting into a 200-yard par 3. How often are you within 10 yards short of that flag or 10 yards past? They would be good shots. You're often 20 yards short, 20 yards past, very rarely that more short. You're going to be having 120s in rather than your 100. You're going to have 80 in rather than your 100. The chances of you getting that number, it's just really tiny. Your numbers show, the stats show, just getting closer, even if you are a bit wobbly in this area. Obviously, there's always a few exceptions, but for the majority of you, you're going to get down in a smaller amount of shots the closer you get to that hole. Now, I know this green has a little bit of slope, but what I'm not going to do is try and leave it short or long or left or right of that hole particularly. I'm going to try and chip it as close as I can because, again, we're just not that good to think that we can chip it to an exact point. We might as well chip it to the hole if we can do that. So chipping it as close as you can and not trying to leave it a certain side of the hole. Again, there's often some exceptions on certain courses. But trying to chip it below or above the hole and thinking that we're that good is a recipe for dropping more shots. Try not to change your strategy around getting frustrated, which is going to happen on a golf course. Golf is a very frustrating game. We're going to have times where we get angry and we feel we want to push harder. Think of this a little bit like if you're losing money on a gambling table, something like that. Just to put more down to try and recoup your losses is just a recipe to lose even more money. Stick to your strategy. Things you can do as the round goes, if you find yourself hitting bigger cuts than you're used to, you might just have to aim appropriate for them, thinking that's the shot I'm playing today, so you can move your aim points a little bit around those kind of ideas. But don't try and push harder when something goes wrong, a free putt, a duff chip, something that really gets under your collar. Stay level, stay strategically focused to the game plan. Because what we don't want is that anger to lead to more anger and to more drop shots. We want to let that anger go and focus on just getting back on point and grinding out some scores. Some really good basic approach play strategy. Don't be suckered in by front pins. Front pins, people come up short with their approaches so often, just leads to short-sided neck shots. Do not be suckered into them. They are a main cause of drop shots on approach shots when you look at the statistics. So just picking that target past the flag, picking it more towards the middle of the green, on the green is better than not. And then one little extra bonus, which lots of people don't know, you're better off if you're going to miss this green hitting it in the rough around the green than you are these bunkers. What are you doing to make sure you're hitting away from bunkers and covering them so you've got enough club to get over them? Do not go in bunkers. There's a bunker episode if you want to check that out. There's links to all the episodes down below in the description, but don't go in bunkers at the moment until you get better at them. Amateurs, it kills you. So I'm 113 middle and 93 front. So you can see that's quite a difference in accuracy of approach, but I'm definitely going to be playing more the 113. 93, I'd hit a hard 58. 113, I've got my 50 here and just going to hit a 3/4 one. I'm lucky enough from this distance not to have to worry about the bunkers. And even with that strike, I've only just snuck on the green. If I'd have used my precise yardage, I would have been short. Get it on the green, miss those bunkers at any cost. So here's a great example of the frustration of golf. I've hit a good drive on a tough driving hole, a pretty awful wedge. And now I want to hole my putt. I should be birdieing this hole. Strategy on the green, we need to be way more realistic with understanding how many we do not hole and how easy it is for us to 3-putt. From this distance, I should just be trying to 2-putt, get out of this hole, take the putt. Remember, it's about not having the disasters. The birdies, the difference between birdies between average golfers to much better golfers is tiny. When it comes to doubles and recovery shots, that's where we start to really see the separation, and we certainly see it in 3-putts as well. The idea of trying to make sure I 2-putt this seems way more realistic than the frustration. I'm going to go for it. Oh, and even with a good putt, still got a tester. This is me trying to 2-putt. If I was angry going for this, ouch. Take the par, no disasters. So much of strategy is about controlling the mental side of your game, trying to make sure that your head stays in that strategic space to then do the task. And all the tools you need to understand how to control your mind in the mental game of this mental game are in this video. I hope they help.